XXVI, Guadalcanal. But slumped on the bathroom stool, his mother holding up his chin while she washed his face, Billy was waking. Hold still, dear. Hold still, dear. Did you have a good time? You're certainly home late. Is this part of winning the bet? Billy's eyes blinked sleepily. He had a gnawing feeling he'd forgotten something. He hiccuped, gazed dopily down at the fuzzy blue bath mat, yawned. He'd remember it in the morning. It couldn't be that Bet! Bet! He hadn't won yet. There was still time. 3 to go. 15! 15 worms in 15 days. Today was... He jumped up. Mom, I haven't eaten my worm today. And suddenly it all came to him. The whole trip. All the candy bars, hot dogs, hamburgers, popcorn. What time is it, Mom? Quick! About 11:45. It was a trick. He snatched his pants off the floor. They were trying to make me forget. He tumbled and slid downstairs, through the dining room, shirt tail flying, yanked open the drawer in the kitchen table, snatched out the flashlight, the drawer spilling out the clatter and crash onto the floor, and slammed out the back door. The Finks! He scuttled across the back field towards Tom's house, searching the ground with his flashlight as he went. There! Darn! A stick! Geez, suppose I can't find one. He stopped. There won't be time to cook it, he ran on. And no ketchup! He stopped. I bet Tom wasn't sick at all. He ran on. The night was moonless and close. He paused to heave over a rotten log in the high, dewy grass, mealy bugs and scooters, clambered over the stone wall into Tom's backyard, and was all of a sudden wrestling with a pup tent. Muffled grunts and thrashings. Tom! He yelled. Tom, it's me, Billy! They're trying to trick us! Tom and his younger brother Pete crawled out from under the pup tent. It was a trick, panted Billy. Alan and Joe were trying to make me forget. 15 worms in 15 days, and if I don't eat one in the next 10 minutes, Alan will say he won. It's almost midnight. And they left me home so I wouldn't remind you? Billy nodded. Have you got a worm? We'll have to find one. Tom dug back into the pup tent and came up with 2 flashlights. They zigzagged back and forth across the lawn, bent over, searching. I got one, cried Pete. Shh! I'll have to eat it raw, said Billy. He threw back his head. Wait, whispered Tom, grabbing his arm. You should do it where Alan and Joe can see you. Pete, run in and get your siren out of the garage. Chapter 27. The 13th Worm. Under the streetlight in front of Alan's house, Tom and Pete knelt over the siren. Billy stood behind them, the night crawler squirming in his fingers. Now wait till lots of lights come on all over. In all the houses, said Tom, then chop it down. Ready, Pete? Now. The siren growled, winding slowly up until it screeched across the sleeping neighborhood, sending birds squawking and chirping into the air from trees and rooftops. Dogs began to bark, windows lit up, and there were confused shouts, bangs of windows slamming up. Ladies and gentlemen, shouted Tom through the dying whine of the siren, Alan Phelps and Joseph O'Hara, through their finkiness and cheating, their lies and dirty... Come on, muttered Billy, his head thrown back, dangling the worm over his open mouth. We haven't got much time. Alan Phelps and Joseph O'Hara, shouted Tom, have forced us to wake you all up so that you may now witness the eating of the 13th worm. He dropped to his knees. The siren wound slowly up to a screech. Billy dropped the crawler into his mouth and chewed furiously. His eyes closed, fell to his knees, still chewing, his face turning beet red, toppled over on his side, still chewing, rolled and writhed about the sidewalk, clutching his stomach, still chewing. Tom and Pete kneeling by the streetlight, working the screaming siren. Billy threw open his arms and lay still on his back under the glare of the streetlight, his mouth wide open. Ta-da! Announced Tom, springing up and pointing to Billy. The 3 boys ran off into the darkness. As they went, Tom yelled, Remember, Alan Phelps and Joseph O'Hara!